It's Michaela Lovett here. I'm really excited to discuss with you guys today a little bit about the inspiration for my current work in progress and also to introduce my new second work in progress, even though I know I have said very recently that I am not really ready to begin another work in progress. So I'm breaking my own rule and I want to discuss it with you guys. And I kind of want to give you guys a little insight into exactly why I am breaking my own rule, and I look forward to discussing with you guys about those things. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about Project Pink, which is my Camp NaNoWriMo project and my first work in progress in my list. It is a new adult fantasy trilogy. You can hear me moving books around because I'm going to show you some books. It is a new adult fantasy trilogy, which I have had the idea for a couple of months now. It really came about when I asked myself the question, what would happen if there was a world where people had the power to control creation and destruction in ways that we as in the real world are unable to control. And also, I asked myself the question, what would a world or what would a country where ideologies and religion are completely illegal and outlawed, and those who practice or believe in or research religion and theology were at risk for being put to death, tortured, or in other ways punished? Those were the two questions I asked myself that ended up being the impetus for my Project Pink. Now, the two book series that I want to talk about today, at least in regards to Project Pink, are the Keys of Power series by Simon Brown and let me get the other books. Chronicles of Kaidan series by Simon Brown as well. Simon Brown is an Australian author. I actually first discovered the first series I mentioned, The Keys of Power. I bought this first book for $2.50 at a secondhand bookshop near the ferry terminal that leads from Staten Island to Manhattan. And I just bought it because I didn't have enough money on my tab at the coffee shop bookstore to pay with a card. So I just grabbed a couple books so I could pay with my card because they have a minimum there. This is one of the books I ended up grabbing, Inheritance, the first book in the Keys of Power series. This is actually the first adult fantasy series that I've read in quite a while. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I recall that the last adult fantasy series I read, I was in high school. My mother really liked the Outlander series, and I have been meaning to get into Diana Gabaldon's writing, but I think I started reading the first book in the series. Sorry Mom, I know you told me I shouldn't, because she thought I was too young to read them, which she probably was right. But I recall that was the last adult fantasy series I attempted to read. So I actually read Inheritance, Fire and Sword, and then Sovereign. Those are all from the first series, and then I read Empire's Daughter, Rival's Son, and Daughter of Independence. Those are the only books by Simon Brown I was actually able to order on Amazon. Obviously, save for the first book, which I bought at the bookstore. Everything else that he's written, I can't get. It's either out of print or it's only available in Australia, so I can't get it sent to my house in New York City. But that series is probably the biggest inspiration for my new adult series that I'm working on. I know that I prefer the world building in these series than I do in the other fantasy series I read. mostly because the other fantasy series I've read, most of what I have read fantasy wise, is young adult and children's fantasy. So I find that the world building in these series and in other adult fantasy series are much more kind of what I'm looking for. I do recall very much so when I was in high school and middle school, I really liked the Septimus Heap series. I've never really liked Harry Potter very much. Now as an adult, I appreciate the world building and the character arcs, but the writing itself is not really my style or cup of tea. I tried to read the first book in the series. I probably won't read any of the other ones, but I appreciate the lore and I appreciate how much work was put into creating the Harry Potter series. And so I like to take inspiration from those aspects of that series. And I also like to take inspiration from the depth the depth of the magic system in series like the Aragon series, and also in the Septimus Heap series. Now, for my new project that I wanted to discuss with you guys, I have yet to name it. I'm leaning more towards Project Blue or Project Orange, at least for now, because those are not at all similar to Pink, and I'm afraid that if I get anything similar to Pink, I might mistake what those books and notebooks are for. But my new series that I'm going to be working on is a standalone young adult dystopian science fantasy. I know that's a lot of qualifiers. That's a very specific niche. But I do want to discuss with you guys a little bit about the series, a little bit about the book, and a little bit about from where I got the inspiration. So with Project Pink, I've only had that idea for a couple months now. For my second work in progress that I'm going to be beginning plotting soon, probably July, I'll start plotting. And I won't start writing until I'm done with my zero draft of Project Pink, is The Search for Wandla. This is a children's series. I don't read very much children's anymore, same way I don't really read much young adult either anymore. Tony DiTerlizzi is a wonderful author. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's responsible for the Spiderweb Chronicles. I was never a big Spiderweb Chronicles fan. Personally, it was a little bit out of my age range when I was introduced to it, but my brother really liked Tony DiTerlizzi's Spiderweb Chronicles. I know Tony DiTerlizzi mostly from Wandla and also from his art for Wizards of the Coast with the Magic the Gathering cards. So that is where I draw my inspiration for Tony DiTerlizzi, my inspiration from Tony DiTerlizzi's work. The Search for Wandla is definitely a dystopian-ish science fantasy kind of deal. It is a duology, if I'm not wrong, and it is definitely a children's book. It actually did win an award. I think it was, here it is, Children's Book of the Month Club Bain Selection. So it's been relatively popular, at least in that circle. What I'm most nervous about is young adult dystopian science fantasy is incredibly niche, like I said before, but at the same time, the market for some of the aspects of my novel are very, I guess, there's a lot in the market. So, young adult is very popular right now. It's like the new age range everyone's writing for. There's a lot of young adult authors. Same time, there's a lot of science fiction for young adults, and there's lots of dystopian for young adults. I remember when I was in high school and into middle school, science fiction and fantasy were a little bit of a back burner in the young adult sphere of things. But young adult dystopian was very popular. When I was in middle school and in high school, that's when you had, your Mockingjay, Allegiant, Divergent, all of that stuff came out. those were very, very popular when I was a middle schooler and high schooler. And I think that the market for those has definitely been both oversaturated and has died out as of late. So I don't think that traditional publishing will be easy for me when it comes to this series, because I think the fad has moved elsewhere. And it's not like I'm going to be catching some new wave, so it's not going to be a point where publishers are going to be saying, oh, wow, yeah, that's becoming, keywords are becoming, very popular right now, and we would love to publish your book. But it's also not going to be at the point where it's, yeah, we think there's too many of those coming out as of late, so we don't think that your book will sell very well, so we're not going to sign it. But I guess I'll just have to see where that takes me once I get to that bridge, so, as I say, cross that bridge when you get there. But that's going to be my new work in progress. I am very excited to see where it takes me and what I'll be doing with it next. Like I said, I don't think I'm ready to get started on really writing the zero draft for it, but I am going to be starting some plotting and some planning. I love both of those things. I did get to spend today with a friend of mine, Nicholas, who is an artist and an author himself. He is going to be doing some concept art for my standalone young adult dystopian science fantasy novel. I'm very excited to see where that business relationship takes us, and I'm excited to see what he'll be able to provide me. If all goes well, I'm hopefully going to be talking to you guys more about it, more showing you a little more of what's going on in the process of writing that. Again, I'm so excited for what Camp NaNoWriMo has in store for me this year, for writing my series, for starting a new work in progress, and for being able to share my writing journey with all of you wonderful people here on YouTube. I want to thank you all so much for coming and watching my video today, and I want to invite you on Monday and Wednesday. Every week I have a live write-in. I look forward to hearing from all of you. The second week of July, I will not be posting on Monday. I will be driving cross country, so I will not be going live on the second week of July. That Monday I will not be going live. I will provide some more information on both of my social media accounts, my Twitter and my Facebook, about what's going on with that, and I will be able to talk more with you guys about it in my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please come and see my live stream on Monday and my live stream on Wednesday. Both of those happen at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and feel free to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day, guys, and get to writing!